Good day. I'm so glad you're here. Public speaking has always been my passion, and that was why I wanted to talk to you about it today. I always wanted to be a public speaker. I used to dream of it, but I didn't know how to go about it. Imagine my surprise, joy, and exhilaration when it was offered as the subject in college. Of course, I did public speaking number one and public speaking two. What kind of question was there? One of the speeches we had to prepare was a eulogy. What I didn't realize was something that I had paid scant attention to. First, I drafted and crafted my speech. Then I practiced it. The morning of the speech, I donned the dress that was my go-to good dress and went off. When it was time for the critique, the one that stood out most in my mind was the one student who said she dressed appropriately in black for the eulogy. I had never thought of that. Yes, it was a black dress, but I didn't think of it, and I realized how important that is. My first public address was not in university, in college, but it was in high school. I ran for presidency of the student body, the general organization, and we had to give a major speech and present a platform. We had to tell what we were going to do, what was going to be new, what was going to follow de rigueur. And I practiced and practiced and practiced. Finally, my mother said to me, "You know what? Just think of your audience as cabbage heads, and then you won't be nervous." But I wasn't nervous. I love looking into the audience's eyes. I love seeing the reaction. The look on their faces gives me the clue. Am I getting through? Am I not getting through? How are they thinking of it? I will look around and catch someone's eye, and so go around the room, forward and backward, not quickly, but smiling and giving everybody just that little bit of my attention. I find that pulls the audience in. Another trick of the trade is knowing your first sentence and your last sentence. That you have to really be sure about, because your first sentence is a hint to what you're going to speak about, and your last sentence should be a summary. In summation, you should bring your talk a full circle. People love that more than anything else. So let me just give you a few examples. Our rabbi started with the following: "It's all Avram's fault. It's all his fault." Everybody sat up straight. When Hashem said to Avraham, "Avraham, take your son," Avram should have said, "Okay." What did he do? He asked questions. "Which son?" Hashem said, "Your only son." "But Hashem, I have two sons." "Your son Yitzchak." Well, everybody was really listening now, because that first sentence was a great starter. Another rabbi, a rabbi in South Africa, always began his speech with a joke. He tried to find something from Reader's Digest and often retold it. One year, his son was the Purim rabbi. He got up nervous as anything because he was only 11 and a half years old. And he said pompously, "I'd like to start my joke with a speech." And of course, the house came down, and the audience was putty in his hands from that moment on. Everyone has a different style, a different way of speaking, a different way of catching the audience's attention. And that is so important. Some people will sit down and craft a speech from beginning to end. I do that. I like to write my speech out in full, but it means that I've researched my subject. I know what I want to talk about, and I know the words that I want to use, but I cannot be beholden to those words, because if I do, and if I have my written out speech in front of me and I lose my place, then I lose the stream of thought and I lose the continuity. So, what do? I practice. I practice in front of the mirror, then I practice in front of the camera, and then I listen to it, and then I practice again and again and again until it becomes a part of me. Practice makes perfect. So, cabbage head or not cabbage head, joke or no joke, the first sentence is crucial. What I'd like you to think about today are 3 points. They are: go with the flow, let your personality show, and know and love the subject about which you will be speaking. Try to fit that in what we've said this morning or this afternoon, and how we've thought about crafting the speech, making it yours, and giving it the thought that it deserves. So, how do you think you can best identify with go with the flow, let your personality show, and know your subject? I'd love to hear your suggestions and your talk. Enjoy the session.